is to immediately ascend and leave the mortal realm, gaining a divine power inheritance, a heavenly Tao spiritual stone, and a spiritual treasure. The other is to continue cultivating, temporarily not ascending, and gain a spiritual treasure. Hanju frowned as he looked at the system's notification. The system was tempting him to ascend. He crossed his arms and said seriously to the system, "After being with you for so many years, I know your temperament. Without the cultivation of Tai Earth Immortal, how can I fight Juke?" Hanju chose the second option to continue cultivating in the mortal realm. The system page displayed, "This is indeed the better choice." The system sent a notification, "You chose to continue cultivating, temporarily not ascending, and gained a spiritual treasure. Congratulations, you received the Tai spiritual treasure, the Imperial Dragon Chi Bridge." Hanju's eyes lit up. Looking at the golden, smooth object in front of him, Hanju exclaimed, "The Yellow Dragon Chi Bridge spiritual treasure, a second grade Tai magical item mount that can withstand a full strike from a loose immortal. The surface craftsmanship is perfect." He then looked at the wheel coiled into the shape of a dragon, with 4 golden dragons bearing the weight. Hanju excitedly looked at the shiny golden car in front of him. "It can withstand a full strike from a loose immortal. This is really a good item." Hanju turned his head and said, "Next is the situation. It's just in time for a level up, let's try this." The simulated trial began again, and Xian Qingjun said, "Finally, you've reached Great Ascension." Hanju replied, and called to her, "Give it your all, don't hold back." Xian Qingjun was currently at the 8th level of the Great Ascension stage. She nodded and agreed with Hanju, "As you wish." The trial field announced, "The trial begins." Immediately, layers of whirlwinds began to rise behind Xian Qingjun. The storm tore apart the earth. Hundreds and thousands of souls surged toward Hanju from unknown sources. He stood there, looking at the situation in front of him, and sighed, "Is this the power of the 8th level of the Great Ascension?" Hanju calmly raised a finger, "Heaven and Earth, Xianhuang Breaking Realm Sword Finger." Hanju's finger directly blew everything away, ending all the simulated trials. Time stopped for 2 seconds. Hanju placed his hands behind his back, swinging his robes as he walked proudly. "Even the Yellow Dragon Chi Bridge is useless. There shouldn't be many people in the mortal realm who can kill me now." Hanju jumped onto his golden, smooth car and left the simulated trial field, gradually disappearing. "Right, I need to go to the original place, just a few more steps." In the Sword Dao River, Zhang Guxing was lying on a resting chair. The man suddenly noticed something. He quickly stood up and saw Hanju walking toward him excitedly. He shouted, "Kid, how did you come again? Using the same divine power to level up multiple times, how interesting. Why don't you focus on cultivation and improve your cultivation level?" Hanju sighed, "Senior, I can't casually agree with what you said. There is no one in the mortal realm who cultivates harder than I do." The man was suddenly stunned. "You?" He asked Hanju, "How many years has it been since you ascended to the Great Ascension?" Hanju cupped his hands. "I'm not talented, I only like hard cultivation. This time, please step aside, I want to see how far I can go." The person guarding the Sword Dao River thought, "This kid not only has outstanding swordsmanship talent, but his cultivation talent is also terrifying. Without the foundation and background of his past life, how could he achieve such results? It's really strange, too strange." He watched Hanju's back. "I don't know why, but he seems different from before. It looks like he is no longer immortal." Zhang Guxing opened one eye and looked at Hanju from his hair. With this talent and temperament, if placed in that position, he should be a genius among geniuses at the same cultivation level. It's a pity he was born in the mortal realm. After a while, he shouted at Hanju, who was walking with his head down, "You're walking in the wrong direction, it's over there." Hanju quickly turned around and ran over, "Thank you." Outside, on a protruding rock of a high mountain, someone was sitting and playing a flute. It was Ji Tianshen. The Chaos Heavenly Orb emerged from a cave and asked him, "Senior, can Suchi really recover from going astray?" Ji Tianshen replied, "Don't worry." Looking at Suchi, who was soaking in a large pot of hot medicinal liquid, Ji Tianxin explained, he went astray because he couldn't control the power within him. The Chaos Heavenly Dog asked, how long will it take for him to recover? Ji Tianxin lowered his head, his face showing concern. He, like me, was born extraordinary, with immense power beyond that of ordinary people. It's not easy for him to die. Ji Tianxin calmly said, there are divine medicines from the heavenly immortal mansion. He'll recover soon. As you know, the heavenly immortal mansion is not only powerful, but also has superb alchemy techniques. Although it may not look like much on the surface, the system and logistics are exactly why the heavenly immortal mansion dominates the world. Ji Tianxin smiled at the Chaos Heavenly Dog and said, actually, we people from the heavenly immortal mansion really like soup. If there's a chance, I can invite you to try my signature Tianqing water snake soup. The taste is unbeatable. The Chaos Heavenly Dog paused for a moment after hearing this, then changed the topic. It pointed at Su Qi, who was soaking in the pot, and said, boiling on the fire, why does he seem like he's almost done? Ji Tianxin sniffed, nodded, and said, it really smells like a meat soup, looks like it needs to simmer a bit longer. 1 second later, he immediately shouted angrily at the Chaos Heavenly Dog, who told you to add more firewood? We should turn off the fire now and use the remaining heat to clear the meridians, not simmer it. Quickly pull him out. Ji Tianxin suddenly felt a bit surprised. He looked down at the sword in his hand, which was trembling violently. Wait, what just happened? Ji Tianxin turned his head to look in the distance, toward the origin of the Sword Dao River, seemingly in Great Yen. Ji Tianxin thought to himself, Yuqing Holy Sect, could it be him? Does he really have extraordinary power? Did he break through the Sword Dao again? I can't beat him head-on in swordsmanship, I'm no match for him. With this thought, he left behind a sentence, I'll be back soon. The Chaos Heavenly Dog was busy pulling Su Qi out of the water pot and asked, Senior, where are you going? Ji Tianxin sighed and said, I'm in a bad mood, I'm going to kill a demon sect member to vent. The Chaos Heavenly Dog was speechless. He really was a cold-blooded person, thinking of returning to Great Yen. It turned around and looked at the now fully cooked Su Qi. Why not take this opportunity to bring this kid back to Great Yen? That person is eager to kill the demon cultivator, he probably won't notice me. But when it thought about Ji Tianxin, it started to ponder, if we return, will that person be angry? The master once killed the Qingmang Great Saint, and may have already broken through to the crossing tribulation stage. But the senior can fight against the Great Ascension stage. He's the one who pushed the demon emperor to the brink. It then stopped, deciding to leave. The Chaos Heavenly Dog thought about Han Ju's appearance. If the master and that person fight, I can't even imagine. The Chaos Heavenly Dog muttered in frustration, no, I can't let this cause trouble for the master. It looked up at the sky outside and sighed, and Su Qi hasn't fully recovered, let's wait a bit longer. Ji Tianxin walked down the stairs, thinking to himself, Yun Chang, my friend, wait for me. I, Ji Tianxin, was born to achieve the title of the world's greatest. Everyone's mission is to become a stepping stone on my path to immortality, and you are no exception. The chaotic era is the limit of the mortal realm, only the prosperous age will lead to immortality. Ji Tianxin hid behind a large rock and looked at the distant whirlwind. Based on the direction, it seems to be coming this way. Ji Tianxin stepped out and sneered, it's just a tornado. But when he stepped outside, his expression changed immediately. His eyes gradually became sharper as he looked at what was floating above his head. Why are there sharks in the tornado? There were indeed sharks swimming around in the tornado. Light shone through the window. Huang Jihao was tied up, sitting on the side, surrounded by many people. Huang Jihao looked up with a gaze full of contempt and said, as a righteous cultivator, I would never conspire with you scoundrels to do bad things. The other righteous cultivators nearby saw this scene and shouted, our righteous alliance is almost at the Sanmo Luohan stage. You won't have much time to keep pretending. Sanmo Luohan laughed loudly, huh? Them? He waved his hand, releasing a wave of black magic toward the cultivators, saying, "They've already arrived here." Huang Jihao was startled, shaking in fear. When they saw that the person was Guan Wugang, everyone couldn't help but nervously shout, "Daoist Guan." The other righteous cultivators, seeing that the people bound were Jioding, Shi Quan, Lu Bumei, and Hong Quan, were shocked and said, "Why are you with the real Jioding?" The story goes back an hour earlier when the Yuqing sacred sect and the great righteous sects entered the imperial city. The demon emperors. Tens of thousands of death warriors were waiting outside the city, and Jioding led over 800 people secretly into the city for reconnaissance. Guan Wugang said, "This is the Demon Dao Imperial City, it certainly looks desolate." Jioding whispered back, "I've heard that demon cultivators are always crazy, and the demon emperor is too lazy to build a city." They hid behind a collapsed wall to discuss. Guan Wugang asked, "Then why haven't we seen any signs of demon cultivators?" Jioding replied, "The intelligence shows they might be to the east or north." Lu Bumei interjected, "It's to the east. Someone is killing demon cultivators from the demon sect, and all the demon cultivators in the city have gone there to assist." Jioding stroked his beard and thought, "I wonder who the powerful person is who could pull all the demon cultivators out of the imperial city." At that moment, someone reported, "There's a problem with the Demon Dao Imperial City." Shi Quan said, "Earlier, the 4 great righteous sects came with us into the city, but now there's no trace of them. Quietly abandoning allies is not the way of these 4 sections." Xing Hongjue, who was standing nearby, also observed and said, "I feel something's wrong. Deserting mid-battle is a military taboo. Though they might act separately, they would definitely signal first." Guan Wugang said, "Tell everyone, we're now isolated and defenseless, just like the Demon Dao. I hope all of you are very careful, those demon cultivators are crafty, they won't completely retreat." Jioding looked at Hong Quan and asked, "Hong Quan, you were once ambushed by the demon sect. Can you guess what they might do next?" She shook her head. "At that time, my cultivation was low, I only encountered some low-level individuals, so I'm afraid I can't predict." Lu Bumei stopped Jioding and asked, "Sect leader, since we've come this far, have you noticed anything strange?" He asked, "What's the matter?" Lu Bumei replied, "The demon cultivators are nearly endless." He calculated silently and said, "Logically, the number of demon cultivators shouldn't exceed ours, but this battle has been going on for over 10 years. The righteous side has suffered countless casualties, but the number of demon cultivators hasn't decreased at all. No one knows the true identity of those cloaked figures." Jioding squatted down and looked at him. "If they didn't appear for no reason, could they have dug a hole on our side?" Lu Bumei nodded, "That's very likely." After saying this, Lu Bumei looked at the people standing behind him, as Elder Xing Quan said, "Our cultivators are quietly disappearing. I suspect the Demon Dao is hunting and corrupting our righteous cultivators, acting in the shadows." He calmly analyzed, "I wonder, are the demon cultivators we've encountered on this journey all losing control of their minds? They carry a sense of familiarity, as though we once knew them." Jioding's eyes widened in shock when he heard this. It's exactly that feeling. This strange feeling has existed for a long time, even during the later stages of the righteous and demon war. He recalled, since ancient times, evil has never prevailed over good. At first, people always thought defeating the Demon Dao was only a matter of time, but who would have thought the righteous and demon war could last over 100 years? We should have known that cultivators willing to fall into the Demon Dao are still the minority. Even though there are many in the cultivation world, it's not possible to completely eliminate them in over 100 years. If the demon cultivators are hiding and fighting us with fewer numbers, it's understandable. But the current situation is that this large-scale war has continued for a century. And the flames in the forest are still burning strong. A gentle breeze can revive it. The only explanation is that these demon cultivators were once our people. Otherwise, the problem of corrupted righteous cultivators wouldn't be completely solved. If that's the case, this century-long war will turn into an endless abyss, consuming all of heaven and earth. Guan Wugang said to Jioding, sect leader, I think we should retreat. We don't have to break into the imperial city. He immediately nodded, okay, everyone follow me and retreat. Suddenly, Jioding's pupils contracted. A series of enlightenment lights descended from the sky, and explosions sent everyone around them flying. Sanemo Luohan stomped on Jioding, who still shouted firmly, quickly separate, run. Shi Quan said to everyone, I'll hold him off, you all run. Tanemo Luohan clasped his hands and recited, Amit Babuda, where do you think you can escape to? Since you're already here, let's all enter the demon Dao together. A hand as large as a fishing net reached out and swiftly grabbed them, preventing them from escaping. Including Fairy Shi Quan. Guan Wugang turned to Huang Jihao and said, we were ambushed in the imperial city. Huang Jihao was stunned and said, does this mean the righteous army has been completely wiped out? Lu Bumei said, there are still troops outside waiting for orders, but the demon Dao has masters in the Great Ascension realm. It won't matter how many of us there are. Suddenly, a person was lifted up, and Huang Jihao shouted, a Ming. His pupils contracted sharply. The person called a Ming was twisted into a mass and disappeared without a trace, as if by magic. Tanemo Luohan sneered, this is the consequence of not willing to surrender. A fat man among the righteous cultivators immediately said, Senior, wait. I'm willing to become a demon cultivator, I'm willing. Several of his fellow disciples immediately rebuked him, Fat Lu, do you dare bring shame to the sect? Huang Jihao was on the verge of exploding, betraying the righteous path, seeking death. He kicked out, do you think I can't kill you right here? Huang Jihao turned himself into a sword, the sharp ornament on his head empowered him to fly toward Fat Lu. Fat Lu screamed, Senior, save me. Tanemo Luohan quickly appeared and knocked Huang Jihao flying, sending him crashing into a nearby pillar. Tanemo Luohan didn't forget to mock, I think you're the one looking for death. Fat Lu was terrified, his soul almost leaving his body as he stammered, thank you, Senior. Tanemo Luohan smiled with a raised corner of his mouth, those who understand timing are true heroes. From now on, you will be in charge of guarding them. He pointed at Fat Lu and transmitted a wave of evil energy into his body. Fat Lu could only sit there, screaming in pain. Several righteous cultivators watched the scene before them, trembling in fear. Fat Lu gradually stood up. His body was covered in purple, breathing heavily, and several tattoos appeared on his body. He struggled to speak, so this is how simple it is to grow stronger. The power flowing through my body is unparalleled. It's truly amazing. Fat Lu, feeling the continuous flow of power within him, excitedly called out to the righteous cultivators. Everyone, dying a quick death is better than living a miserable life. Wise people should surrender now. As soon as Fat Lu finished speaking, a brief silence followed, before voices erupted, I'm willing to join the demon Dao. Brother Lu, take me with you. Me too, please protect us, Senior Lu. I don't want to die, I'm sorry everyone, I can't face my master anymore. Fellow Taoists, we've done our best. We really can't fight against the demon cultivators, can we abandon that tumor? Guan Wugang turned to ask Jioding, what should we do? Another person spoke up, Jioding Jinren, should we also? Jioding snorted coldly, his face darkening, people of the Yuqing sacred sect, I'd rather die standing than live on my knees. Anyone who dares to betray the sect and join the demon Dao, don't blame Elder Zhanshan for cleansing the sect and settling the matter afterward. The people in the sect immediately froze, Elder Zhanshan. After a moment of panic, they quickly calmed themselves, their expressions serious. On Han Ju's side, he was stepping deeper into the river of Sword Dao. This time, Han Ju had already walked 20 steps in the river of Sword Dao. The heavenly yellow world-breaking sword fingers transformation was complete, and its power could immediately destroy the interface barrier. A stream of spiritual energy shot directly toward Han Ju, who was meditating. This divine technique expanded and broke the world. From a distance, the trajectory of the sword energy shot out, breaking the world and instantly crossing space. As long as the divine sense could capture the opponent, it could achieve long-range shooting. Hanju slowly opened his eyes, and the light flashing in his eyes reflected light. No matter the distance, the damage of the heavenly